During the Homeland War from 1991 to 1995, numerous foreign citizens fought within the ranks of the Croatian National Guard, and later the Croatian Army, Croatian Defence Forces and the Croatian Defence Council. Foreigners who choose to join in the defense of Croatia began arriving in the early stages of the Serbian aggression during the early summer of 1991, initially to battlefields closer to Zagreb, then Dalmatia and Eastern Slavonia. In addition to joining the ranks of the Croatian National Guard, primarily the Guard brigades, foreigners joined the Croatian Defence Forces in large numbers. Also, during 1991 and 1992, a large number of foreigners operated in two special units of the Croatian Army General Staff, the Zrinski and Frankopan battalions, which were organized by Croats, returnees from the French Foreign Legion. The majority of foreign fighters served with the 2nd Croatian National Guard Brigade, but also fought in other Zagreb area units, engaging around Petrinja and Sisak. Some joined local forces, notably the 57th Independent Battalion, later recognized as the 161st Brigade. Over time, foreigners expanded to Kordun and Pokuplje, serving in 110th and 129th Brigades from Karlovac. In Pokuplje, many fought with the 153rd Brigade from Velika Gorica, while others joined the 140th Brigade from Jastrebarsko, or Reconnaissance Commando Company of the Zagreb General Staff. A significant number of foreign volunteers fought near Vinkovci with the 109th Croatian National Guard Brigade and the local 1st Croatian Defence Forces Battalion Marijan Baotic. Dozens also served with the 83rd Independent Battalion from Zagreb. Over 200 foreigners operated in the Vinkovci area, the highest concentration in a single Croatian battlefield. On the Osijek battlefield, most foreigners joined the 160th Brigade, which organized the 1st International Platoon, led by Eduardo Roja Flores. This unit, composed mainly of foreigners, defended Laslovo until its fall, and later supported Osijek's defense. Other foreigners served in various units across Eastern Slavonia. A notable number of foreign volunteers fought in Western Slavonia, particularly around Novska, Lipik and Pakrac, mainly with the 1st Croatian National Guard Brigade Tigers. Some served with a reserve unit for special purposes of the Interior Ministry, later called Merchepsmen, and others with the independent company of the Croatian Defence Forces Jasenovac on the Novska battlefield. Foreigners also joined units from Zagreb and northwestern Croatia defending Western Slavonia, as well as local units in the area, with some losing their lives in the conflict. From the summer of 1991, foreigners participated in defending areas under attack in Dalmatia, particularly around Split, Šibenik and Zadar, as well as in Dalmatian hinterland and near Dubrovnik. Many joined the 4th Croatian National Guard Brigade shortly after its formation and helped establishing Croatia's first NATO standard training center in Radmanove Mlinice near Omiš. The largest group of foreigners, over 60, served with the 9th Croatian Defence Forces Battalion Rafael Vitez Boban under the 114th Brigade, primarily between 1992 and 1995, after most foreign volunteers had been demobilized. In the Lika region, specifically around Perušić, starting from late autumn 1991, the 1st Dutch volunteer unit, composed entirely of Dutch citizens with military backgrounds, functioned as an autonomous combat unit with the 19th Croatian Defence Forces Battalion, under the supervision of the 118th Croatian Army Brigade. They undertook traditional reconnaissance and commando missions on the Lika front until March 15, 1992, when they were disbanded. After the Sarajevo ceasefire in early 1992, many foreign volunteers were demobilized from the Croatian Army. While some returned to their home countries, a significant number joined the Croatian Defence Council as the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina escalated. The prolonged conflict in Bosnia attracted more foreign volunteers than the war in Croatia. In the Bosnian Posavina region, foreign volunteers fought in the 101st, 104th, 106th, and 108th HVO brigades. Their involvement is well documented in records from the 108th and 104th brigades, as well as accounts by figures like Gaston Besson, Steve Haydock, and Blasko Lovrić-Baja, a commander in the 108th Brigade. These sources detailed their contributions during peak Serbian aggression in 1992, although little reliable data exists from other brigades in the region. In Herzegovina, foreign volunteers participated in combat, particularly in Mostar. However, HVO records provide limited information on their identities, unit affiliations, or the significant casualties among foreigners in the area. Few foreign volunteers operated in central Bosnia, and their exact numbers are unknown due to insufficient documentation. The most organized group of foreign volunteers was the Viking Platoon, which operated within the HVO's Kralj Tomislav Brigade in Tomislavgrad. Comprised mostly of volunteers from Northern and Western Europe, the platoon later became part of the 1st Guards Brigade Ante Bruno Bušić, continuing as an independent unit until the war's end. Shortly after the end of the war, specifically after the signing of the Dayton Agreement on December 14, 1995, most foreigners left the ranks of the Croatian Army and the Croatian Defence Council. Only a few foreigners remained in the armed forces of the Republic of Croatia even after the war, but the majority withdrew from active military service by the year 2000. During the Croatian War of Independence, the media often labeled foreign volunteers as mercenaries, invoking medieval terminology and suggesting their motives were purely financial. Modern terms like dogs of war further reinforced this stereotype, overshadowing the fact that many volunteers had no prior military experience and were driven instead by a genuine desire to help. The narrative of profit-seeking soldiers disregards the diversity of motivations among those who joined Croatian forces. Another stereotype painted these volunteers as politically motivated extremists, particularly aligned with far-right ideologies. While some fit this description, it fails to acknowledge the ideological variety among the fighters, which included leftists, anarchists, monarchists, revolutionaries, and adventurers, all unified by the goal of defending a free Croatia. Their commitment transcended religious, national, or racial lines, rooted instead in shared ideals of solidarity and resistance against aggression. A less common but still damaging stereotype portrayed foreign volunteers as criminals or adventurers with dubious motives. While isolated cases of misconduct existed, such individuals were swiftly identified and removed from combat units. Most of these passing adventurers had little to no involvement in actual fighting. In reality, many foreign volunteers came to Croatia or Bosnia and Herzegovina with prior military experience and saw the conflict as an opportunity to apply their training. They consistently refuted claims of financial motivations, citing instead a sense of military honor and a duty to assist those unjustly attacked. Unit records confirm that they received the same pay as their Croatian counterparts, typically 100 to 150 German marks. Motivations varied, but a shared adventurous spirit and a desire to protect the weaker side in the conflict were common threads. For some, the decision was deeply personal, stemming from ties to Croatia through family or friendships formed before the war. These individuals fought not out of self-interest, but to defend their loved ones and uphold a principle of justice. Foreign volunteers came to support Croatia's fight for freedom from 44 countries across Europe and the world. It is reliably confirmed that approximately 790 of them arrived, with documentation firmly establishing 654 as members of the Croatian Armed Forces. The remaining 136 individuals were included in the list based on memories of foreigners and comrades in arms, as they were documented during the census organized by Association of Foreign Volunteers of the Croatian Homeland War. Taking into account these factors, an estimated number of around 1,000 provides a realistic representation of the influx of foreign volunteers who joined the Croatian War for freedom. Based on the data analyzed thus far, it is indisputably evident that the largest contingent of foreign volunteers, numbering 203 individuals, originated from the United Kingdom, comprising over a quarter of the total number. The second largest group consisted of Germans, with 132 confirmed volunteers. Next in line were volunteers from France, totaling 90 individuals. Hungary contributed more than 30 volunteers, while the Netherlands and Australia each had 33 volunteers, noting that majority of Australians had Croatian roots. The high level of casualties among foreign volunteers is notably poignant and warrants continual emphasis. Out of approximately 790 foreigners, 85 lost their lives, and at least 130 sustained injuries, with some experiencing multiple wounds. It can be confidently asserted that the number of fatalities will continue to rise in the future, while the number of wounded is likely substantially higher. However, due to insufficient documentation, it will probably never be determined, perhaps not even approximately. Many foreign volunteers returning to their homelands faced institutional and community rejection, rooted in stereotypes condemning their involvement in the Yugoslav wars. Some struggled to reintegrate, succumbing to societal judgment, with severe consequences. A number developed PTSD, leading to addiction, criminality, or even suicide. Others, despite facing condemnation and PTSD, pursued education, rehabilitation through art, or pedagogical work. Some, unable to endure societal injustice, relocated, often to Croatia. Many adapted to civilian life within their personal limitations, with some achieving notable careers. While most moved away from military activities due to physical or psychological strain, a few continued to apply their military skills. Some foreign volunteers engage in humanitarian or socially beneficial work. Steve Gaunt, an Englishman, donated valuable archaeological artifacts to Vinkovci City Museum. Martin Cruikshank and retired Brigadier Warner Ilic gained recognition from the Croatian Olympic Committee for rowing across the Atlantic under the Croatian flag. During Russian aggression in Ukraine, a few, after 25 years of civilian life, supported Ukraine's defense. The late Gaston Besson played a key role in organizing the Azov Battalion in 2014. The contribution of foreign volunteers to Croatia's victory in the Homeland War has been recognized at institutional levels and gradually introduced into history textbooks, teaching materials, as well as recent literature dealing with the period of the Homeland War. Many foreign volunteers were awarded decorations, with particular reverence and tribute reserved for those who sacrificed their lives defending Croatia. Slowly but steadily, with the growing interest of society, the phenomenon is increasingly being discussed in museum spaces. This exhibition is a small contribution to rising awareness among the wider public about the phenomenon of foreign volunteers and their contribution to the freedom we enjoy today.